Hey guys, come back to my channel. Today we're going to discuss the introduction to bookkeeping unit from your level 2 AAT accounting qualification. In this one, I have already done assessment, practice assessment 1 on the AAT website. Now we have left with to do the practice assessment 2, which is more of a harder one compared to the practice assessment 1, and resembles the closest module to the actual exam itself. So let's bring that up on the screen and let's work on that practice assessment here. So let me find out where it is. Here you go. I found that test driver. So now this is similar to the first exam you done earlier. This is also for 1 hour 30 minutes. You got 11 tasks to complete. The total marks available is 100. So it is expected you to have at least 70 marks out of the 100 to achieve a pass rating. Okay, so here I have everything's ready for me now. I'm just keeping that available, so it will be able to go through with this. So let's start by pressing continue. It shows you the time and everything there. I have already explained to you in my previous videos the functions with that highlighter option and the references, and this will be used in this exam as well. Okay, so let's press start continue button, then work on it. Task 1 is all about manual and digital bookkeeping systems. This task contains part A to E. So here there's a drop-down menu with some answers you have to go for, and then there are some coding answers after that, okay, or questions after that. So the first one they're asking you is identifying transaction that have been recorded into or paid out of the bank account is in a given period. So if you look at that here, you need to look at it, it's whether it's paid into or out of your bank account in a given period. So here on my drop down menu, I have a much more suitable answer of a bank statement. Your bank statement will show you what is your money ins and outs of your bank account. That is from the bank's perspective. Okay. Next one is summarizing the transaction with the supplier and advising them of amount being paid to them. So we are looking at it why we pay the money to our supplier. We will send them a remittance advice. We're going to confirm that information with our account statement, with our purchases ledger or your payables ledger, and then you're going to decide which one we're going to pay that individual supplier. So we're going to say that that's a remittance advice. Detailing goods supplied to credit customers and the amount to be paid, that is going to be definitely invoice. So this invoice is going to show all the relevant details about your the goods you supply to your customers, your terms, how many you're going to pay them, what sort of a discount they have obtained, what is the charge of VAT, and what is the total amount they owe. Possibly sometimes you'll have information about prompt payment discount. Authorizing low value purchases paid in cash is definitely petty cash voucher, because petty cash voucher is accompanied with your petty cash book, and once paid out, voucher will replace the money instead in your petty cash team. The accounts are to be opened for 2 new customers. Customer account codes follow the format below. So here, I just have to respond to an email quickly. No, that's fine. The first 4 letters of the customer's name and the 3-digit sequential number that represent the number of the customer account. So if you look at that here, you have the customer number account 078, which is the 3-digit sequential number. So therefore, any customer after that will be 079 and 080. But the first 3 letters will be, first 4 letters will be the customer's names. For example, for Chetstone Limited, it has to be CHED, and the number is going to be 079. Okay, and the next one is COUR, and the number is 080. Once you've done that, and that should be enough to identify the requirement of the customer and the supplier there. Sorry, and the customer there. That's fine. Each page in the general ledger is numbered starting from 0001. The page number is also a general ledger account code. Identify the coding used in the general ledger. Is it alphabetical, alphanumerical, or numerical? If you look at that here, it's just number. Therefore, it's not alphanumerical or alphabetical. It has to be just numerical, because any coding is just consist of numbers is numerical. If it's going to be letters and numbers like this previous one, they call it alphanumerical. If they just use letters instead of numbers, that would be alphabetical. Identify whether each of the following statements regarding the digital bookkeeping systems are true or false. The first one is, it is possible. The word is, it is possible, means there is a chance it may happen, might not happen. Okay, so therefore you've got a lot of breathing room there to import the data relating to the bank transaction in order to complete your bank reconciliation process. Absolutely right. It is possible. If they say it can be only done by this way, that is wrong. It is possible. We can do that. It is not possible to post a transaction to the wrong general ledger account. That is incorrect, because it is possible. I can put something complete to a wrong type of account. It is, as long the person who's entering the data and the system not have the right knowledge, you may end up doing the wrong account. So therefore, it's definitely a false. And the last one is, a purchase invoice from a credit customer has been entered into the digital bookkeeping system twice. So what is that one consequence of this error? If you enter something twice in the system, yeah, the total of the purchases will be understated. No, it's not right, because it will be more purchases, isn't it? So that's incorrect. The total amount owed by the receivables will be overstated. Again, this is receivables. This is credit supply, so that is a payable. So nothing to do with that same scenario. So we move on, because they use the word receivable. That's not the one. The business may pay for goods that have not been received. Yes. What do? You may end up paying two invoices if you enter twice in the system, and you may end up paying that twice. So it's fine. Then look at the last one. The business may be paid for goods that have not been sold. That is not right, because we're not talking about here. May be paid means we receive the money. It's not. It is we pay for the goods. Okay. So therefore, the answer is going to be the third one. Now let's look at the next one. Task number 2 here. They give you a list of assets and liabilities. Complete the table below to show the accounting equation. Enter all the figures as positive values. So here we are looking at it. We have received a list of assets and liabilities only. Your accounting equation says if your assets plus your, assets equal to your liabilities plus capital. Or you can say assets minus liabilities is equal to capital. So if you can ascertain how much is your total value of your assets here and what is your total value of your liabilities, then you'll be able to find your value of capital. So let's talk total all your assets. So I'm going to just my calculator here in the system. So computer equipment 4080 plus 16,781.9 pence for your cash at bank. And we're going to add to that one. Receivables account is 8,339 pounds dot 89 pence. And we also have one more asset, which is the fixation fittings, 7,734 pounds. And that gives me a total value of assets of 36,934.98. So let's see, 36,934.98. Okay, so I got that assets. And what is your liabilities? So let's get the calculator here. The liabilities are at the moment, you got the payable 2851.35 plus 4,000 pounds. That's 6,851.35. Okay, 6851.35. 6851.35. So to find the capital, what are you going to do? From that figure, we're going to take away your liabilities from the assets, and that should give me a figure of 30,083 and 63. 30,083 pounds and 63 pence. The first transaction recorded in March related to cash taken from the till by the owner to purchase a new computer for the business. So the owner takes money from the till, not for his own purpose. He bought a new computer for the business. So what's happening with the accounting equation? What is that going to do to my assets and liabilities and capital? Is my assets going to be affected? Yes. A couple of assets are affected there. The computer is gained and your cash is decreased. Your liabilities is not affected because we bought that for cash. Therefore, there's no liability incurred here, and also capital not going to be changed. So here, the both decrease both assets and capital. That's wrong. Decrease assets and increase liability. That is also wrong. Both increase and decrease assets. It makes sense because your cash is decreased, but your computer, which is the equipment account, has increased. So answer is going to be the D. And then also, if you look at this one here, this is going to be finding what effect it's going to be the opposite to whatever transaction they have done here. So here, identify the opposite effect of the each bank transaction by dragging the appropriate description into the table. You should ignore VAT, not worried about VAT here. Bank transaction paid for the accounting services. What do? You're reducing your assets, but what you're increasing now? You are increasing your expenditure. Expenditure is now increased. Transferred surplus money into your bank savings account. So in that case, if you transfer it to your bank savings account, that is another asset. That asset is going to increase. This asset will reduce, the bank account will reduce, but the bank savings account will increase. That is going to increase your assets. The next one is repaid a loan. So when you're going to repay a loan, money going out of your bank account reduces the assets, and then also your loan account will reduce. Therefore, liability is going to be decreased as well, decreasing your liability because your loan is a liability. When you pay your loan, that is going to decrease. Received a check from your credit customers. So it's going to increase the amount you have in your bank account. Your assets increasing. What is the opposing effect? The customer, they are normally in the receivable ledger control account. That is also another asset. Whenever they pay us, that asset account will reduce. Why? Because they no longer owe us that money once they're paying it. So here, it is definitely going to decrease this asset. And the fifth one is received a check for cash sales. So what are you doing here? You're receiving money into my bank account. That is going to be an asset increase, but oppositely, cash account, cash sales account. Cash sales is an income account that is increasing. So here we look at income has increased there. And last one is received a refund for a cash supplier for an amount overpaid for computer repairs. So here we have paid an expense before. Okay, when you paid for an expense, that is increased. When you receive a refund, that expenditure itself will be reduced because it is for amount overpaid. So therefore, your expense account will not have to show the higher amount. So you can reconcile it and reduce that amount because it was an overpaid amount. So here we will be decreasing the expenditure. When you get a refund, your expenditure has reduced, isn't it? So that's the thing. So task number 2 is done. Now let's do task 3. This is about processing customer invoices or credit notes and entering in day books. This task contains parts A and B. Sales invoice 3577 is being prepared by from the quotation below. So we are pleased to offer you a quotation of supply of 3,000 unit of product 4380 A4 leverage files, £1.80 a unit, and then plus the £20 for VAT. Terms 3% prompt payment discount if received within 10 days of invoice, or net monthly. Or you pay net monthly means it will be the end of the next month. This information can be viewed in the references section on the right. So here I can show that if I bring it here, if I click on it, the information can be viewed here. You don't have to go up and down when I'm going to work out the question. So here I have that screen split into 2. So that makes a little bit more leeway for you when you're working a question like that, when you have to read a big thing and you have to go up and down. Depends on your screen size. If your screen size is big, you'll be fine. Identify which type of discount the customer has been offered. We call them a prompt payment discount. Calculate the amount to be included in the invoice. Regardless whether they take it or not, the prompt payment discount, it's not calculated by us who's sending it. Customer, if they take that prompt payment discount, they have to calculate the discount and send the net payment out to us, and we have to issue them for the difference where when the customer have taken the prompt payment discount, the difference as a credit note to them, and then we record that in your discount or our day book only if they're taking it. If they're not taking it, it's not going to be a problem. So here they want you to find out what is the net. So the net is amount going to be here 3,000 units at £1.80 each. So here let me just get calculator out. So 3,000 multiplied by £1.80, that's £5,400. And also, if you notice here, there is no decimal. It's been requested here. If they ask you a decimal here, we have to make sure we do that in decimals. But it's also good if you remember sometimes in the question, they will clearly say that to you. If it's not, we just start to use your common sense to find which is the most appropriate one. When you work out one of your answers and you're getting decimals automatically, then put the decimal out. It's not a problem. Okay. So here 5,400 multiplied by 20%, which is going to be 1,080, which is the VAT. And then I'm going to multiply the same VAT by 6 times, or you can add those two together. I have 6,480 as my total amount. We have to publish on our invoice. So here they're asking one more question. Enter the invoice in the digital bookkeeping systems by selecting the correct menu option. So therefore, the correct menu option here, it is going to be what? It's still because we are working on customer invoices. So this is a sales daybook transaction. So I'm going to come out of this. So I'll be able to find what is the customer code. So if you go back here, the customer code GRA01. So here I say GRA01, and the general ledger code is, if you look at that here further down, then the general ledger code, probably 4380, possibly for sales. Let's see what it shows here. Here you go, sales of office equipment, office stationery, inventory, or printing. So this is definitely office stationery. If you notice here, leverage files, it's office stationery which you're making a sales of. Invoice number is whatever it says here, 3577. 3577 is your invoice number. And the net amount with the information we have calculated is going to be £5,400. And then and the VAT code here, we're going to choose VAT 04 V04, which is the 20%. Okay, so we have done all of that now, and then you should be able to move on with that question. So answer it, and let's move on. Task number 4. Jackson Co. Has received 2 checks totaling of £12,801.62 from JTP Products, as detailed in the remittance advice below. Customer has not been offered a prompt payment discount. So they're not given a prompt payment discount, but they have sent this in to remittance advice for us now. So here we need to check what could be the reason these are allocated to. So here is no reference data here. So you had to keep an eye out back and forth here. So I'm going to see whether I can reduce the size a little bit here. I can see a little bit more, but then I can zoom back in a bit later on. All right. So here, balance board forward or balance board down, £884.23. It actually allocates to this, what is that again? This remittance advice 1087. So I can allocate it here straight away. But then if you look at that now further, there is a payment on your invoice, on your customer report below, £9,996.22. And also, if you notice further down, there's a credit note for 3922. If you reconcile these two figures, that should be equal to 9,613.78. This minus that invoice, the credit note, and it also says because of a correction to deal with the initial invoice. Therefore, this amount is correct, and that is allocated to this remittance advice 1010. So I'm going to allocate this one here, and again I'm going to use this to allocate here. But now look at the third part, which is invoice number 355, for the value of 35522. This is 3987. So let's see here, 3987, it's 375. Okay, so it's going to be 375 pounds 22 pence, but they paid only 355.22. So they have taken themselves 20 pounds out there. So what do you need to do? You have to query a underpayment because it is not been paid according to what they have should have paid. Now look at the next one, 4009. If you notice that here, 892 pounds and 61 pence, 800 and 21 pence. So now if you have a look at that here, hold on. This is yeah, I got it slightly wrong here. If I look at that here now, this is the amount they have paid and this is the amount. So therefore it's not an underpayment, it's an overpayment. This is the amount in my books and they paid 375.22. So it is an overpayment, not an underpayment. They have paid more. So guys may be screaming at the screen, yeah, this is an overpayment. Thank God you noticed it. I didn't notice it carefully. I have to compare against this to the actual amount they have paid. So if you look at this one now, this is 892 pounds 61 pence. This is 896 pound 21 pence. So this amount is higher in my customer report, but the actual payment with the remittance advice is lower. So therefore, we have to query an underpayment here. All right. The first one we query an overpayment. This one is an underpayment. Now let's look at the last one. Invoice number 4126 for 1035.78. It is absolutely fine. There is no error with that one, and we allocate that to 1097. So that is all they expect you to do. Portray Products has received from 2 customers that have incorrectly calculated from payment discount, resulting in an underpayment. So what they're saying to us, the customer incorrectly corrected, paid their from payment discount. So what our job is to find the right amount and find what is the amount outstanding. So Chailai, they were offered 2.5% prompt payment discount and their total invoice value is 9,876. So let's calculate how much they should have paid. So we're going to multiply this by 97.5% because we have to find the discount. We're not worried about that. We're worried about how much they paid. So we're going to say with the percentage, the amount should have been paid. It is come to 9,629 pounds and 10 pence. And there is a discrepancy because I think they may have worked out 97%, means 3% discount they have taken it themselves. Maybe, I'm not sure, but let's check what is the difference. Minus 9,579 pounds and 22 pence. So let me just do this. Minus 9,579 pounds dot 72 pence. It is 49 pounds and 38 pence. 49 pounds dot 38 pence is the amount they have underpaid. Let's look at the next one, 2,190. And if you calculate the 98%, it is coming to 2146.20. This is what they should have paid, but they paid minus 2,080 pounds and 50 pence, means it is 65 pounds and 70 pence underpayment. So here 65 pounds dot 70 pence underpayment, and there we need to request those 2 customers, Treon Limited and Chile. They have to Chile they have to send additional payments to consolidate their outstanding balances. Now let's look at the task number 5. Here, task number 5 is about processing supplier invoices or credit notes and entering in day books. So if you look at that here, they have given you a supplier invoice received. They want you to know there is a reference section. You can actually check it, part A and C, but I'm not worried about that. I'm going to worry about this. Here, identify the book in which the invoice will be entered. So here, this is a sales invoice. Therefore, purchases invoice from the supplier. So here it goes in the purchases daybook. So now they want you to know making 4 entries to record the invoice and totaling the total VAT and net column. And then we have to do one after that. So here the invoice number is, according to this, 18384. So 18384. And then what we have here, the total amount is 2342.82, £390.47, 1952.35. And then obviously have to total all of this up. I'm going to show you a trick how you can get that done as well. I just have to total one column, basically this VAT column. Assuming everything is correct, you don't have to do everything multiple times. So here, oh, let's total this net column, divide it and multiply. Yeah, we'll do that way. That's easier anyway. £3,014.85 plus 2028.30 plus 855.95 plus 187 plus 1952.35. It given me a figure of £8,038 and 45 pence. Here, once you've done that, you know the VAT is going to be a 20% of that one. So you're going to find the 20% of that. So one of my calculations wrong. Yeah. The first part is 45 pence here, yeah, because the answer will coming down as slightly different. So here 3014.45. Okay, so if I do that, yeah, it's not letting me to correct this formula. Oh yeah, I can do this, multiply by 1. Yeah. It's 0.5. 0.5 here. Yeah, that's it. Then you're going to this one, divide by 5. Yep. So if I divide that by 5, I have 1,607 pounds and 61 pence. This is going to be your VAT amount. And then you can multiply this VAT amount by 6, and you should get 9,645 pounds and 66 pence as your VAT. So here, all you have to do, total one column, divide that by 5, you get the VAT, and multiply this by 6, you get the total amount. If you add these two also, you should get that same amount anyway. So you wouldn't be wrong. Either way, you can test it whether your calculation is right or wrong. And that's 7 marks for that, guys. 7 marks is a lot of marks there. So take your time with it. Then the goods return note and the credit note now related to the incorrect goods supplied to Hawthorne and Co. on 26th of May. So the goods returned to Shazam Trading. 9 boxes of 8 items, product C4736, returned not as ordered. Price, whatever it is there, and then this is the credit note. So they're saying here, this information also available on the reference to the right. Find the two discrepancies on the credit note. So if you look at that here, the credit note is been given for 9 here the goods return notes for 9 items. Here it is for 90 items, and therefore a different what do you call type of amount as well. If you look at the price also, it's different than what they have said here, because here, let me see. Oh, maybe that's right. £24.80 divided by 8. Yeah, it is £3.10. If you notice that here, this is a box of 8 and they have given the individual amount. So that is absolutely fine. This is incorrect. 90 items, it's not right. Okay, so the quantity item is wrong. And then also if you notice that here, the goods return note was processed on 26th of May. Your credit note has to be after that. It not be earlier than that. See the 16th of May, that's not right. It cannot be there. So that one is also wrong. Product type, it's exactly same. Item price is also fine because here they have given you the price for a box of 8. So each box has 8 means £24.80 for 8 items. One item is going to be £3.10. You just divide it by 8, find £3.10, which is same as here. So that is 2 marks for this one. And yeah, altogether it's 10 marks. You've done 5. Let's move on to the 6th question. So here, this task is about processing supplies, payments to suppliers. This task contains part A and C. It is a company policy to at Hendon and Co. to always take advantage of prompt payment discount offered. This is a report from the digital bookkeeping system today on 17th of May. So they're giving you all this information there. They given the customer supplier name and the terms of payments, and when you have the prompt payment discount allowed. So here, identify the amount to be paid and the date by which the supplier should receive the payment for each of the invoices below. Okay, so here, King Limited, which is this one, we're going to say here amount paid to, how much we'll be paying to, and what is the date we have to pay that by. So if you look at that here, King's Limited, we take 5% prompt payment discount. So here, the amount £5,401 and 20 pence is the whole of the amount. So if we take 5% discount, we find what is the 95% of the invoice. So that is going to be £5,131 and 14 pence. You just have to simply multiply this figure by whatever the amount, it's not discounted. So if it's 5% discount, we multiply by 95%. Or you can calculate the discount and take away from this. It's just a long-winded process. If you know, if this is the 100%, if your discount is 5, whatever we're going to pay is going to be the rest, isn't it? So it's 95% here. So they're asking you what is the date it should be paid by. If it's 10th of May, add another 10 days to it. That's going to be 20th of May. So here, Friendly Limited is net monthly. So when you're going to receive the invoice on 13th of May, there is no prompt payment discount offer here. So we end up paying whole of that amount, but we'll pay that net monthly, means we will pay on the end of the following month. So here, if they say 30 days, we'll be paying that on 19th of June. But in here, it says net monthly, we're going to pay on 30th of June, which is the last day of the month there. Okay, so the following month. Now let's look at this. Wells and Co Limited, £18,334 and 50 pence, 16th of May, and then amount to be paid. We have to find out discount offered is 4%. Therefore, we're going to calculate £18,334 and 50 pence multiplied by 96%, which is going to be £17,601 and 12 pence. Because this is within 7 days of that one. 16 plus 7 is 23rd of May is your day you have to pay your invoices by. Okay. Now let's move on to the next question. Here, they ask you, this statement of account from a supplier and a supplier report from the digital bookkeeping system. So here they are asking you, this information can be viewed on the right hand side. That's fine. Identify the 3 transactions shown in the supplier statement of account have already been paid. So if you notice that here, the difference between those two is only with this last check amount. You know, this check is basically something we have paid from our system, but it is not reflecting on the statement of the supplier. Supplier hasn't, basically processed that payment yet. Therefore, we have to find out what are the 3 transactions on the supply statement may have been already paid. So if you look at that, I have to achieve £3,102, but there is no one items I can think of. But it says here there are 3 transactions. So it may be a combination of 3 invoices or 2 invoices plus 1 credit note, or you take away the credit note figure. You know what I mean. So here, if I'm going to say randomly looking at these 2 invoices, which are the earliest, most of the time they may give you the right answer. So I'm going to add these 2. So I have £982 plus 2,446. It gave me 3,428. Not close, because if I add any more invoices from here, it is going to increase the amount. It won't get down to here. But we have this credit note, which we may take away £326, and that gives you that whole amount of £3,102. So here, opening balance, the credit note 129, and the last one is the invoice 1572. So these 3 answers are the amounts we have already paid. So once we done that all, you should be able to reconcile whatever left, because this is done, and this is done. So if you notice that here, this invoice, that invoice is fine. This invoice is fine. 4886, fine. 8042 to 8042. So they all 4 of them are matching. So whatever we're going to pay, it's what is we have outstanding. So 3011, 3331 plus 4886 plus 8042. I'm adding all of those together, and it gives me a new value of 19,270. You may ask, Mom, why I'm not doing any decimals here? Because none of your answers have decimals. And then also, if you notice that here, they never mention anything about decimals. So that's fine. Okay, so let's answer that and move on. And I'll close this reference. I don't need it for this question. So task 7, this task about processing transaction in the cash book. This task contains part A and B. 2 accounts have been received as shown in the receipt listing below. First one is SIL21, Ben Silver's credit customer, the check received for 474, including VAT. And then also 31st of July, I have received something from EPD Limited, EPD and Co. cash customer, £189 plus VAT. So here they ask you to enter them in the cash book. And then also we have to remember, we have to decide whether we have to account for VAT or not. Because when it says credit customer for Ben Silvers, what do you know? They have already paid their VAT, or we already accounted for that VAT when we enter that in my sales day book first. If I already entered that in my sales day book, I don't have to consider this VAT here anymore. I know they're paying the money inclusive of VAT, but I don't have to separately account for it. Okay, so here, this is received by check. So the £474 altogether will go here, and the amount will be reconciled in the analysis column of the receivable side. Okay, so here this is the only entry we have to worry about. But when it comes to EPD Limited, though, £189 plus VAT, so multiply by 1.2, it will give you £226 and 80 pence total cash received, because you have to pay, they have to pay the VAT as well. So here on the cash sales, we have under be £37 and 80 pence. Here, make sure you put the full decimals, because they haven't said that so. But if you notice that here, all of the answers, according to this, will have decimals. See that here, these answers all have decimals. So we will make sure we follow that trend, and we will put the decimals there. If you notice, even though they haven't mentioned it, it is imperative you follow the queue. That is what is important, because all the calculations beforehand also shown decimals, even though they're 2 zeros. So our answers reflect that certain finding there. Okay. And then the credit of the cash sales shows the total bank payment of £12,664.11. calculate the bank balance, use the minus signs if your calculations are overdrawn bank statement. But before that, we need to find how much we have on each one of them. So here, 10,000. £36.24 plus £226.80. It gave me a value of £1,263.80. And the opposite side is going to be 19,882.16 plus 474, and it gave me a value of £20,356.16. And now we're going to compare that against the payments we made out minus the payment £12,664.11. That leaves us with the positive amount of £7,692.05. We have to take away this bank payments from your bank receipt side total to find what is your current bank balance. It's going to be £7,692.05. Okay. There's no further question with this one. Let's move to task number 8. Task number 8 is about processing transaction in the petty cash book. This contains part A to C. Keen & Co. keeps an analytical petty cash book and withdraws cash from bank to restore the impressed amount at the end of each month. On 30th of September, there was only one petty cash payment to be recorded. An amount of £32.64, including VAT, has been paid for travel expenses. They want you to find out, calculate the VAT and net amount to be recorded in the petty cash book. So if they've given you the amount, £32.64, that is the total amount after VAT. So if you want to calculate the VAT, you can either divide it by 6 directly or divide by 120 and multiply by 20. You can do either way, all right? Because 120 is the total amounts including VAT, and you find 1% and then you multiply 20%, which is the VAT. So here the VAT is coming to £5.44. And then once you get that, your net is going to be 5 times this VAT amount because it's 100%, which is £27.20. Or you can minus this from here, and then obviously we'll get the same amount of £27.20. Before the petty cash payment in A was recorded, travel expenses of £49.55, including VAT, had been entered into the petty cash book. Calculate the total of the travel expenses analysis column after the petty cash payment in A was recorded. So here, before the petty cash payment A was recorded, travel expenses of £49.55 plus VAT as recorded in the petty cash book. So whatever they say here, plus VAT means it's not going to be matter for me. The travel expenses is the net expense only. So therefore, the plus VAT is not relevant to my calculator. So here, the £49.55 is the net amount which goes into my travel expenses column in my general ledger. But since we have one more transaction of £27.20 needs to be added to that one, the both together will give you a grand total of £49.55. That £76.75. Because it's important to remember when you're looking at the analysis column, 76.75. Okay, the analysis column, what it does, it just put the net amount. It will not put the whole of that because we have a separate column for VAT there as well. If you pay VAT, it will be recorded on the VAT column, and the expense column will have only the net amount. So for example, previously look at the cash book, the cash sales. If I can go back there after I done this, I'll be able to show that to you. Normally the VAT, it's not an expense. We collect it from our customers or we pay to our suppliers and we can reconcile it. Okay, so therefore we count the VAT as not relevant to our calculations here. So the next one is, after all the petty cash payments had been made, an amount of 2322 was left in the petty cash float. This agreed with the total payments of £226.78 recorded in the petty cash book. On 30th of September, the petty cash interest amount was restored. So if you know there's interest amount is where your balance will start at the beginning of every period. So if they had only 23.22 left and they spent £226.78, add these two, that give you £250 as your interest amount. But the question is, identify the entry required in the petty cash book to record the transaction. So to restore the money to the what you call interest amount, how much I need to withdraw? Since it's a interest amount, we have to same amount we have spent last month, so we can withdraw that and we can add to the money already outstanding there, and you will make that amount back to £250. So here we're going to say the amount is going to be £226.78, and this will be a debit entry into my petty cash book because it's the money coming in into your petty cash book, credit into your bank account. Therefore the details here we're going to call it's bank. Money is coming from the bank account into my petty cash tin for the amount of £226.78. So if I want to go back in here, I'll show that to you now. See that analysis column? When there is a cash transaction, then the VAT is going to be added there, but this is the only income. On the next example is just an expense. VAT is not relevant to me there, okay? So let's look at task 9. We still got 3 more tasks to do. This task about processing recurring entries, task A and B. New transaction has been arranged as shown in the note below. I have today agreed to rent out office space to Gordon Glass for a period of 6 months. Gordon has arranged for an amount of £390, including VAT, at 20%. And to be paid by standing order on each first day of each month, starting on 1st of next month. Okay, so here what we need to do, this is from the 30th of May. So the first start day is going to be 1st of June, because that's the first day they're going to be start paying. And then if they want to do for 6 months, so they have to do June, July, August, September, October, November. So all the way up to the November 1st, because that will be their last payment. June, July, August, September, October, November, 6 months it is going to be paid. And frequency is monthly, and the net amount is going to be £390 was inclusive of that, which I can't understand. It's no real sense VAT will be charged for rent, but maybe it happens on the businesses, I don't know. But then again, rent is normally, if it's for private rental, what do you call, for domestic usage, I don't think there's any VAT applied in here. So £390 divide by 6 multiply by 5, it give me £325. That is the net amount we add the VAT to. And the code here is VAT4, because that is the 20% charge as it's shown here. So if you go further down now, they're asking you, when the recurring entry is processed, the message below is displayed. The general ledger account you have selected is not valid for recurring payment or receipt. Please select the valid general ledger code. So we have to select this number code here is not right. We have to select what do you think it is we're going to be paying out of it. It's not bank, it's not payables, it's not rental income, it is a rental paid. If you pay, oh, hold on, this is a receipt. It's going to be a rental income. If you notice that here, today we agreed to rent out office space to Gordon Glass for 6 months. Gordon has to agree £390 is going to be paid. None of that changes here, but the only thing here is a general ledger code is going to be a rental income. Okay. More to water now. Identify one effect of processing the recurring entry. So when you're going to do this recurring entry, what it does, until you process it, the data does not go to their relevant T accounts. So if you don't process it, if you just set it up now, the system will not recognize any money coming in or your expense or your income recorded into their relevant accounts. The money will come to your account in your bank account, but your books in your digital bookkeeping system will not have any of the data entered in there. So here the entries will be posted to the old general ledger account. That is what is by processing that payment or your receipt. Entries will be posted to the purchase ledger and all relevant. No, it's nothing to do with that. It's no purchase ledger here. And funds will be transferred to the Gordon Glasses bank account. No, we don't transfer any fund to the Gordon Gordon Glasses. He's supposed to be paying us. Now, let's look at task number 10. Task number 10 is also for books of prime entry. So they're giving you, these are the totals of debit side of cash book at Cookie and Co. So they have said here, the cash book, these are the two main columns and these are the analysis columns. So here, guys, you may have a doubt. I always said to my students, when you get a question like that way, put a line here. This line here, it gives you an idea. This is the one side of the T account. The other one will be on the opposite side. And also this balance doesn't have to reconcile with this. Why? Because you may have an opening balance here. You may also have money going out on the opposite side. So therefore, these transactions have no real resemblance of all the entries you made. Okay. But luckily in this scenario, if you add these two together, that will be equal to this one. And if you add this one to this, it is also going to be same, but not realistically all the time. Okay, so if I know this is the receipt side of my cash book, these two will be a debit entry into my cash book. In their opposing entries into my analysis column, all these three will be credit entries. Credit entry means you need to make sure these will go into their general ledger accounts on the credit side. So let me see here. I'll get rid of that. Yeah. So I'm saying credit, credit, and credit. All three of them will be credit. Even though it says receivables and receivable ledger control account, this is how the analysis columns work. Analysis column will show you receivables in there, but in fact, that will be going into the receivable ledger control account. Why? Because this is when your customer has paid you the money they owe for buying goods on credit for us previously. So therefore, that account normally has a debit entry there, but when the customer pays us, bank account will get a debit. RLCA here, receivable ledger control account, will get the credit entry. So here 16,806.60 is a credit entry. The VAT also same, because it's a cash sales. We collect the VAT so we can pay them. And this is a credit entry into cash sales. This is an income account. The sales returns, purchases, and discount received day books have been total, and all the total have been transferred to the general ledger accounts. So they are asking you here, identify the entries in the receivables and payables ledger. So when it comes to your day books, the sales day book, the entries in the receivables or payable ledger. So we're going to think about it. When you make a sales entry, the payable ledger will have a debit entry there because, the receivable ledger will have a debit entry there because that gives you more assets so you can collect from your customer later on because they bought that goods on credit, aren't they? On your sales day book, the payable ledger account will be normally what we have found from the gross column, whatever it is there. Sales return will be a credit entry into the receivable ledger. Purchases is a credit entry into the payable ledger because that is a liability. When we bought goods on credit, that payable ledger control account will have a credit entry. But when we receiving discount, now when we receiving discount, what happens here? It becomes an income account. But your payables ledger control account will have the opposing entry on the debit side because it reduces the amount we have to pay to our supplier. So it's a debit entry into the payables ledger. Now save it and then move on to the next question. Here they are asking you all these totals been shown there. They're giving you all this information and whether you need balance carry down and balance both down on them. They don't even said what is here. We don't need to worry about it. We don't care about it because we need to find a way to do the totals. So if I'm going to do the totals is going to be coming down for the debit side and the credit side. If you look at that both as the same amount, they will go here because end of the day, the biggest side is your debit side. Therefore, the difference between those two amounts and that two amounts, like here, 14,909, take away these two, will be 5,140. the balance carried down will go on the lowest of side, because that is how we can match the balance as per your debit side. If you have debit side 14,909, by putting this balance carried down amount, we also matching the credit side. But remember, every transaction has an equal and opposite reaction. So when you do the balance carried down, the balance brought down will become an opening balance on the 1st of November. Remember 31st of October, 1st of November for the same amount on the opposite side. And this account will start with the debit balance. Now, the following three accounts are in the general ledger at close of day on 31st of October. GL012, GL015, and GL016. They want you to know the amount, and then they also want to know the balance carried down amount, not brought down. Carried down is your closing balances. Therefore, it will go on the lowest side. So here, the carried down amount on the first transaction, it has to be on the credit side. Why? Your debit sides are much larger than your credit side. So let's find out how much is the amount for. So the amount is going to be 897 plus 336 minus 448. It is going to be 785 pounds, and that is going to be on credit side. This is where that balance carried on will go, and it will match both totals, and then will become a balance brought down on the credit side. Hold on, should be debit side. I say credit side here. This is a debit side entry. Next one, GL015. If you look at the debit side, is much higher than the credit side. So let's find out what is the debit side figure. 1146 plus 1582 minus 229 minus 454. That gives you 2045 pounds. And this is definitely credit side. Why? Because this is where the lowest amount is. The last one, but the least, debit side is much bigger than the credit side. The difference between those two will be a balance carried down. 18,229 minus 2250 minus 1725. That gives you 14,254 pounds. But is that going to be a debit or a credit? That's the question you're going to ask yourself. Oh, yes, it's definitely going to be a credit, because the debit side is the biggest and the credit side will be opposite to that one. Right? So we've done all of them there, and we complete it. And let's see submitting how many mistakes I made. There's one mistake on processing transaction into cash book. Task number 7 there. I lost 1 mark. It's all right. I may made a error of omitting one of the answers. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure where I got that task 7 incorrect. Let's see here. I don't know. I don't know where I got it wrong, honestly. It's only 8 marks there. I got 7 marks instead. Oh, I know. I may have not added the decimals back on. Maybe, I don't know. I may check it with my reply, and you please check it for me as well. You can comment on the video below. After you've done watch the video, you'll be able to type a comment in there and say, all right, where I may have got it wrong. I'll probably come back to you acknowledging what my mistakes I have made, which is not going to be something very suitable for me to make silly mistakes. But then again, this can happen. That's part it is, guys. You're not going to get carried away. Sometimes your mock assessment give you really good marks, and real exams can be really tough. You never know. So make sure you do your due diligence, do your practices at home, do all the questions available for you in your question banks, and of course liaise with your peers and speak to people if you're like any doubts. Speak to your tutor, and you can even message me on YouTube, and I'll be able to assist you with anything I can if I have time available. Of course, I'm also a bit busy with my work, but I'm just only keeping up with the request of some of the viewers of this channel. So guys, I wish you all the best. Whoever's sitting for the exam anytime very shortly, I wish you the very best also. And then please, looking forward to hearing from you again. Please like and subscribe to this channel and put your comments down there. Any way I can improve it, I certainly appreciate your support. And thanks for 350 plus new subscribers I have already got now. So I appreciate your support. Thank you, guys. All the best and take care. Bye-bye.